So I'll take a bit of a tour of the yard. There's nothing that much to see, just the same old plants, but I noticed these grasses are looking like, they almost look like swamp grasses to me, and stuff, but like there might be water underneath or something, so either that or they're just, they seem to be a pack of grass on their own, so it's like, I'm guessing underneath may be swampy or someone planted particular kind of grasses at some stage, because they seem to be like rooted up, like really strange looking grasses, as though they've been planted there. So I don't know, but I'll let that grass be. This is the start of a wall. You're supposed to build it up until around waist high, so it's going to eventually have fruit trees on top, which is cool. But at the moment it's just sitting there. Good haven for little snakes if they bother to approach. But this is like one of the world's favorite. When I was younger, I used to love paperbark trees. I was forever collecting little pieces of bark, just because I like the feel of it. But this one, that's softer there. So I'm glad that we have one because I used to love collecting, like just to feel, and like I'd sit it on my table and I'd touch it all the time, and I'm like, I really love the paper bark. It's like so nice, and of course, your parent would pick it up and chuck it out because it's like, just a bit of bark, sitting on your table. And I'd be like, oh no, that's my paper bark. I just like it, I like to have it. Like I have a chunk of paper bark to, help me study. I don't know, but I used to like touching it, so when I was young. Yeah, there's nothing magical about this garden. I think it needs more plants. It needs thicker. I would put a hedge, but my parent doesn't like, the person I live with don't like hedges. So they like, no, we want bushes and trees. I'm all for bushes, but they're probably gonna, just because they're extra slow at developing things, they're probably gonna put flowers next and then put bushes last, and then fruit trees after bushes. So, but they don't do anything very quickly. It's always like, one item every 6 months or so. No, they put in more frequent than that, but they're too busy tending to the garden. I have a fairly small garden to attend to the rest of the yard. So, and when it's not the garden, it's their pets, and they toil around doing nothing all day, and then it's like, do nothing with this garden. When it could have been well developed, But it does take some planning sometimes. I mean, if it were me, I would just splat plants and bushes everywhere. I've been helping trim this, but I'm not always going to be around to help. So, I think they want to leave. I know they just leave things for a long time, and then they're like, oh, my garden's overgrown. Who am I going to get to help? And then if relatives coming over, they're like, oh, I'll happily help, but they don't tend to everything. They tend to one thing, one corner of the yard, and then months and months later, it's like, oh my gosh, this is all overgrown. I'm like, duh, you haven't been tending to it. So this is a little weedy bush. I've chopped back a heap, but I didn't pull it out or anything because I couldn't be bothered pulling out the roots, so I just chopped back the bush itself. That is an interesting tree. I don't know what kind of tree that is, possibly eucalyptus or something, but it's a little baby version, so I can't wait for that one to get bigger. But no, there's not so many flowers. I'd want more bushes and more flowers. I myself would put a hedge or a wall. Walls are better than hedges, but hedges are less expensive. So I would possibly put a hedge. I once owned this property too, and I put either a hedge or a wall, and So when the volcano explodes and lava comes up, it's sort of diverted to the other two properties. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. I don't want it hitting my property. And so then there was all these complaints about me building something to block the lava, so the lava is going around on other properties instead of heading straight towards our property. So, but yeah, sooner or later, I mean, you have to be kind of rid of it, otherwise sooner or later you run out of money, and but this has almost been a full year without a tornado, so that's never happened. Like, my parents owned this property probably 2 times at least before. I've owned it like 2 or 3 times myself, and so it's always like the same problems, and they go airheaded. They go airheaded when they buy it for the first time, because they're like, oh, no storms here, no tornadoes, and they don't learn from like the past. And they just like start everything all over again as though they've never owned such a property before. And then even the house, doing up the house, even though they've done up the house before, and they take the done up version away and keep the old version of the house on this property. So it's a little bit of a jinx property, a Groundhog Day property, where after a person loses the house or wants to sell it, they take down the do-overs and put the basic house with a messy yard all over again for the next people to buy. So so unless you can afford any amount, they just keep doing it over. But I was almost hailed as a successful landowner, but not quite. Not quite. So unfortunately, like, house insurance is so expensive. Any common property that I have owned is like $2,000, $2,000, $4,000 a week. And that's not much compared to what other people pay, who earn like celebrity money and stuff. But it's still a lot of money, like more than your common weekly wage. Obviously, if you have a family of 2 or 3, that reduces everything to a more decent level. But when you're just by yourself, it's like struggle. No one has sympathy for you. You either pay it or you lose your house. So sort of like your thing. But yeah. Anyway. But this place is looking nice. But now that I've had my walk, I'm gonna go back inside to see what I can do about a bit more work. I've only got till 1 p.m. to make my debut, and then I can give it off. I've only probably gotten, if I get one today, that'll be 4 bookings I made this week. That's like $70 to $80. It's like, it's not bad extra money, but if you need the cash, I'm thinking about dropping all these flimsy work from home positions and oh, what's wrong with this? And doing that office job for a while, for days or weeks. It's going to be a flimsy office job though, so I applied for other jobs, and if I get one I can let the office job go and blah 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 or whatever. I don't know what I'm doing. I never know what I'm doing, but I bought myself a jacket just in case I do want to dip for that office job in the end, because these work from home jobs are silly, earning just hundreds of dollars. I mean, okay, extra money, but I need real income, man. Real income.